Boa noite, sac pase, hello, good evening, what is up, Brooklyn? We are here with the enchanting Pauline Jean, and you have just heard a little Rio de Janeiro swing with a Haitian American flair in this rendition of the lovely tune called Ginga Carioca. Ginga is the flow, Carioca is the lifestyle, the vibe is B-side, and I am your host, Queen GodIs. I want you to give me a round of applause for pronouncing all those words. without further ado, I introduce you to singer, vocalist, composer, educator, philanthropist, and member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, if I got that correctly, Pauline Jean. Yes. I would love to start by asking you to tell us where you're from, your relationship to Brooklyn, and then go into introducing these awesome musicians behind you.
Oh, yes. Well, I am from, well, New York City. I was born in Harlem.
Hey.
Raised in Brooklyn.
Okay, Harlem. Okay. So you have to get that in there really quickly.
Raised in Brooklyn. Haitian American. My family's from Haiti. And yeah, that's what it's all about here.
Haiti deserves a round of applause.
Haiti deserves a round of applause. The first.
Yeah.
So, and so that's what I'm all about.
So your relationship to Brooklyn is that you were raised?
I was raised in Brooklyn. I mean, I went to church in Brooklyn. I went to school in Brooklyn.
And you currently live in Brooklyn.
I live in Brooklyn.
She's official. We just need to check every once in a while.
Yeah, so.
Good. So now that we know that you're an official Brooklynite, let us introduce us to these musicians behind you. Tell us their names and just maybe a little bit about how you all coalesced, how you met, how you formed.
Okay,
this.
I'm going to start all the way over there with Hila.
Awesome.
Hila on the keys.
Hi, Hila.
I met Hila in Israel.
Okay.
So I had to do a tribute to Nina Simone, and she was just wonderful. She played the piano for me while we were in Israel, and she came to New York, and we've been inseparable ever since.
That's amazing.
So Hila, she's a beautiful person, and she's my sister,
yeah.
and a wonderful, talented musician.
Hi,
so I'm
Hila.
really blessed to be in her
Welcome.
presence.
Welcome. Let's save him for last. You don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan Michelle on the bass.
Hey.
Yeah, Jonathan is like a brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Who's just, you know, we work together on different projects on Experience IET organization, and we do music together from way back. I think we went to Barbados together at one point in time. Bermuda. So we travel. It's wonderful, and he's just an amazing bassist and a wonderful person who just brings the music together. So I'm blessed to also be in his presence.
Awesome.
And thank you
Welcome.
for the musical offering.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the keeper of time, Mr. Élan Mednar, another brother from another mother, just a wonderful person.
Élan.
And Élan Mednar is just a really great person, and I'm just really blessed again to be in his presence and just performing with him, and
awesome.
Just a wonderful. And he also played in my Noayo, like the CD release, and it was just amazing. So,
welcome.
Marcus Schwartz, we go way back. He's on my first album, second album. He's also like a brother from another mother. He's also Haitian. Like he's just totally Haitian. I'm not even saying Haitian by himself. He's from Denmark, but he's just Haitian. I mean,
Haitian in the soul.
He knows the rhythms. He's gone to Haiti to study the rhythms, and you know, and just I learned so much from him. I learned so much from all of them, but. It's just really a wonderful person. I just thank you for, again, blessing me with your musical offering as well.
Yep.
Last but not least, oh my goodness, this is like my partner in crime, my brother, you know, who is like my, you know, like my twin. We met actually years ago at Berklee College of Music. About like 10 years ago, for some reason, so long ago. And I learned so much. He's just an amazing alto saxophonist. He's like my favorite alto saxophonist, and I'm just saying that it's true. And he's just an amazing person. He's a humanitarian, and he's also, you know, we worked on Experience IET, which is an organization that brings instruments.
We're going to come and talk about that in detail.
So he's like the founder, and it was just like wonderful working with him. He's just amazing. So.
And his name is?
Godwin Louis.
Godwin Louis. So, okay, let me see if I have this. We have Hila, Jonathan, Élan, Marcus, who's going to show us a compa a little bit later, and Godwin.
Yes.
And Godwin, I wanted to introduce you last because you both were doing a bit of a conversation on this particular song that we heard opening the show, which is Ginga Carioca. Ginga Carioca is really special because it was created by Hermeto Pascoal, excuse me, a renowned Brazilian musician and composer. And a lot of people all over the world have played their renditions of this particular song. And for those who don't know, Ginga is a term that you hear a lot in capoeira. And it really refers to the flow or, you know, kind of a swag, so to speak, if you want to contemporize the idea. And then carioca is the term used to describe people from Rio de Janeiro. And so I want you to tell us a bit about this song, how you decided that you wanted to do your version of it, and what the conversation is between musician and vocalist and making it happen.
Oh yeah, so with Ginga, the decision for me, I guess, to explore Meadows' music, I guess, started back in the college days. So I was really interested in, I guess, the African diaspora. And then over the years through research, I found like a really vital connection between Congo and Brazil and also Haiti. So if you were to trace many Haitian in terms of like DNA wise, you'll find that most of us are from Congo and most of the Brazilians are from Congo. So after Berkeley, I secretly went to Brazil. I said secretly because not many people knew, so you know, to do research on the music. And her Meadows' music to me sound like that Congolese influence that you hear in traditional Haitian compa or things like that. So to me it was like a perfect mixture of both cultures who are like ideally from the same place, Congo and the motherland. So
And there are no actual lyrics in this particular song. It's just mostly the scatting and the vocalization of just the instrument. How did that feel when you first got in the room to do this? Because everybody does it a little bit differently. If you go online and you want to look up Ginga Carioca, you're going to see a lot of different musicians all over the world playing their version. Esperanza Spalding does it, and she does it with no vocals. So let's talk about just how you get to play a little bit on this song.
Right, for us musically, it's familiar language. You know, again, like a lot of those rhythms you hear in traditional Haitian second line, which is called a rara. So da 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 da, tico da da da. You know, so it's when we heard it, it's like, wait a minute, how come a Haitian there? Well, ideally we're from the same place. So you see, I mean, for musically, that connection is really strong. It sounds like home. Right, am I right, fellow Haitians?
It sounds like home.
It sounds like home.
And well, I mean, speaking of home, when you walked in, one of the crew members said, "Oh wow, this is like an all this African magic just walked into the door." And then I made the joke saying, or you could call it a typical Wakandan Thursday, you know.
It's a normal Thursday for me.
What you're going to experience tonight is that your music is going to take us all around the world. So even though you're considered a jazz artist or jazz fusion artist, we do go back to, to a lot of different places, and then we kind of, the thread is Africa. So let us get some more of this. And the next song that we're going to go into is called Whirlwind Romance.
Yes.
And you can tell us a little bit about it afterwards, or, tell us about it afterwards. All right. Give it up, Pauline Jean.
In a cloud, what goes up must come down. I'm in a world with romance, and my feet can't seem to touch the ground. I don't know if I am lost or found. In a world with romance, sky high in the moment we go, weaving patterns of silver and gold, silver and gold. Waltzing on high, pirouettes in the sky, just you and I, love's lullabies, dancing on air without a care. You in my arms, grand love affair, and I'm in a world with romance, and my feet can't seem to touch the ground. I don't know if I am lost or found. my feet can't seem to touch the ground. I don't know if I'm lost or found, and my feet can't seem to touch the.
Pauline Jean. And okay, Godwin, okay. Let's talk about love, language, and lyrics. Okay, so your recent album is called Nwayo,
Yes.
which means nut or the core, the heart.
Yes.
And you talk a lot about the things that you are at your core, the things that you, this lifelong romance that you have with culture and language, and just all the things that make you you that you love.
Absolutely.
So this particular song, Whirlwind Romance, is on Nwayo.
Yes.
So let's talk about these themes, love, language, and how the lyrics come about in this particular album.
Well, when you, depending on what's happening in your life at a particular point in time, so it's, and I try to relate to everyone about love, and we all have we all go through this period of time where you like someone, but you don't know what's happening. You know what you want, you like where you are, but there's no title.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a whirlwind,
Yeah.
because you just don't know what the other person is thinking. And so I decided to write a song about that, just being in that place where you like where you are, but you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm in a whirlwind romance, my feet can't seem to touch the ground, and I don't know if I'm lost or found.
How does that same concept relate to culture and particularly politics of being here? Like, you're from one place, and that place has a really rich history, but also a lot of struggle and challenges, not just in terms of the actual history, but in how that history is perceived. So what is it, how do you equate maybe the idea of a whirlwind romance with being in places or part of cultures that don't necessarily embrace all of who you are and where you're from?
Well, I mean, perfect example is Haiti, so I'm of Haitian descent. It's like the first, country that got its independence, where we should have been embraced as a black people to come and do away with slavery. The slavery is just no good for anyone, but we were demonized and we were ostracized. But then when you come here, it's like America is a place of opportunity for many. And so it's kind of like a love affair, because you do whatever you need to do to survive. But at the end of the day, there's still a stigma if you are of another culture or you're from someplace else. And so, it's like a whirlwind, because at one point in time, it's like, where do we stand? We know where we stand as Haitians, but where does the world see us as Haitians, or just people, regardless of where you're from? So I just think that that's where the whirlwind comes in, because you like where you are. We're comfortable. In some instances, we're working. If you're doing what you love, like I'm doing music, I travel the world and I do what I love. But at the end of the day, am I recognized by the world, or by the powers that be, to make things happen for me in a weird type of way? Not so much that we're at one point in time we are the, I guess, our everything lies in our hands, but then there are certain instances where things are controlled and you have no control.
Beyond us, right?
It's beyond our control. So.
And let's talk about the other side of it. So not only are you a Haitian American artist, self-identified, and a lot of the culture comes through in everything you do, from style to vocals to the list goes on and on. But you're an artist that actually travels back home quite often to receive and to give, which is not the case with many people. So when you go back home to cultivate this exchange, what is the reception like there? What's the love, hate, or the whirlwind romance like when you go back home?
Well, the whirlwind romance over there is we are embraced, but there's politics in play as well. So that's when it kind of gets a little rough. But we are not really going there for any politics. We're going there for the people, for the community, and it's always embraced because we're coming to give, and they will receive. And what we try to do is we set an example, like don't try to hold on to things and not share with your brothers and sisters. We are here to share and to give you, just to pass on. And as they learn from us, we learn from them. So it's like an even exchange. And the way we want to see the world is how we set our platform. So in essence, it's not really a whirlwind romance. It's more of a romance.
Okay. Just plain old romance.
Just plain old romance, because the love is there.
Yeah,
you know.
the love is there. And speaking of love, let's talk about language. You have a love for language that does come through. Obviously, you speak English, Haitian Creole, French. And I don't know if you would. Well, it's in there. It comes through in the music, and then you sing. And depending on the song that you're singing, you may kind of evoke some of the languages from that the song was written in. How does the message evolve depending on which language you're using to tell the story? Wow,
good question. Like for me, when I sing in Creole, I don't know. I tap into something else, and I guess. I guess Creole in and of itself is a language. It's not only a language, but it's a rhythm. There's something in it that just makes you go more into it, like deeper. I mean, for me. Whereas, you know, I can sing in English and still mean it, understand what it means. But for some reason, when I'm connecting with the Creole, I guess it's tapping into that Africa.
Yes.
So I'm like,
yeah, where you don't really need the words, it's the spirit that
yeah,
is
it's like
talking.
the spirit. It's just like you just, you know.
Well, I think this is a good segue to go into the next song. This next song, please tell me what language this word is. This amwe?
Amwe is Haitian Creole.
Haitian Creole, and it means help.
It means help.
And you know, in the world that we live in, we can't just rely on physical means. We can't just rely on what we can see and what we can touch. Sometimes we got to call on spirit, and we got to say help. Let the people know about it. Let's give it up for Pauline Jean one more time.
Chaque jour ma pensée, première fois nous t'ai rencontré, j'aime ton mélanger, la vie t'est douce. Mais qui ça qui rivait, pour n'y là, moi pas exister. L'aime investiguer, moi jouer une vérité. Moi pas qu'à respirer, tout souffle, moi aller. Dans fond de l'eau, ma poule, mon seul côté. Dans ténèbres, moi yé, toute force, moi aller. Pas qu'à s'y porter, bon Dieu, aider. S'applier tout ça qui t'est passé, mais moi résilier, l'être là déjà tombé. L'amour c'est un coup la mort, les que moi on mouille encore. Mon Dieu, qu'il est tout le ça, voilé, embré. Moi pas qu'à respirer, tout souffle moi aller. Dans fond de l'eau, m'a coulé, mon seul côté. Dans ténèbres moi yé, toute force moi aller. Pas qu'à s'y porter, pas qu'à s'y porter. Chaviré tête en pas m'arrêter. traversé ça moins ouais à grenzier. Mais sous tête m'a monté ça passé. C'est pas vraiment des rêves m'a levé. Que m'a pas pipi sans arrêter. Quand il fait bois moins souqué moins tremblé. À qui on rage moins rouge comme du feu. À tout bon sang dans moi relais. Moi pas qu'à respirer, tout souffle, moi aller. Moi pas qu'à respirer, tout souffle, moi aller. Moi pas qu'à respirer. Tout sauf, ouais, allez, allez.
Pauline Jean and the crew. So for those who do not speak Haitian Creole, what kind of help is this song soliciting?
It's the help of God. When you're at the stage of your life where you don't know what to do, it can be a relationship, it can be a divorce, it can be a death. It's just being at this particular point in your life where you just, all you can do is scream, I use this in a relationship scenario, but again, it's just, you know, you don't expect certain things to happen, and it's like the worst possible thing that can happen happens, and no one can console you. All you have to do is just cry out to God, like, I can't breathe. All my strength is gone, you know, just help me.
And there's a strong thread of spirituality and God in a lot of your songs. You have a song called Their Blood Baudier, and Baudier means God or good God. And bon Dieu, did I say?
Bon Dieu.
Bon Dieu. Yes. You know what? They put me to work today. Yes. What I love about these shows is that they get to be entertaining and fun, but they really get to be educational, which it really exposes how magical music is, because you're learning something even without realizing that you're learning it. And then sometimes the music gives you the impetus to like want to dive deeper into these things, just so you can sink your soul into it. So the conversation about spirituality and God, it seems like it flows very seamlessly for you. It's not something that it seems like you have to think about or decide or weigh the pros and cons of, which is great. And I think that this also segues into how you're doing this. You know, very simply, a lot of artists sitting across from me, they tell me how they got their start. Maybe they were 12, maybe they were 8, where they heard or saw someone playing an instrument and they were really inspired. But that's not the case for you. You didn't choose music or jazz. The music, you say, it chose you. And that is a spiritual thing. Like, that's when you, like, people say, have you found your calling? That's the kind of calling where you really have to be listening and you really have to be willing. Describe that moment to us when the music chose you and how you were in a position to say yes.
I just think it just happens throughout different periods of my life, and you just become like a rebel where you're like, oh, no, I'm not gonna do this, whatever the case may be. But I was raised in church, and but I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would be a singer. Never.
Tell me why.
Well, because, you know, it's not like I come from a family that, you know, I come from a Caribbean household, lawyer, doctor, nurse.
Which is also very similar for African households, and I'm so glad that you wanted to share this. Like, first of all, we have your sister sitting right here. And so she's like the preacher to the choir.
You know?
So, but let's talk about that, which is so interesting, especially when I have artists from the Caribbean and also from Africa. Shout out to African and Caribbean parents. You all make sure that if people are going to choose this, that they have to be ready, willing, and able to fight for it, because you give them a fight. And for a lot of reasons. So we don't want to just make it seem like it's an easy thing. The music is so rich with your history and culture and with education and all of these things that are valued in these communities. But then the flip side of all these beautiful things that inspire and make you want to go do it, there are other cultural aspects that are like, no, you will not. And so when you hear this whispering in your heart that says, this is something that you need to explore, this is a way you need to identify yourself. What was that moment where you were ready to say yes to the point where you were like, okay, I'm saying yes and I have to go talk to mom and dad?
Well, I think, you know, music to me is very spiritual, so it's bigger than I am. So like I would just tell you about my first, like I was trying to take voice lessons, and then my teacher was like, okay, Pauline, you sing from this note to this note. When you come before the Father and he says, what have you done with my gift? With your gift, what are you going to say? So that's my lesson. That's like, you know, so when I'm getting instructions like this, it makes me go like, no, this is more than me. It's not about me.
Which is really special.
Right.
Because a lot of people weaponize religion. They weaponize spiritual talk. But in this case, you gravitated towards people who are not only educating you, but who used it to really comfort you into the transition of it. You also had a situation where you were doing other work. So you went to LaGuardia High School, St. John's University, and then Berkeley College of Music finally. And then one day, I don't know what particular job you had. Maybe it was a paralegal at the time.
Working as a paralegal.
And you had a coworker who said?
A coworker who's here.
She's here? They're here?
Heidi.
Heidi! Yes. Okay, we're gonna hold on our round of applause. We are gonna give it to you though, because this is also a significant moment. What did Heidi say to you?
Heidi said, your time is now.
Your time is now. When I read that, it made me want to cry because, you know, we are human beings. The nature of humanity has lots of competitiveness and also just kind of hustle and bustle. We don't really see each other. When someone really sitting across from you in a cubicle or office or whatever the setup was, sees you, and in the midst of clocking in and clocking out, still finds the space, the heart to say, your time is now, to encourage you to answer your call, and that's big. So now let's give Heidi a round of applause.
Yeah.
I love Heidi. And what did you say to Heidi? What did you say back to her when she said this?
Well, when she said that to me, I mean, the thing is that Heidi has always been supportive of me, so it was actually my first showcase. And I was performing with 3 other women, and I've never done that before at Duplex Cabaret Theater.
Okay.
And she said, Pauline, you should really pursue this. You should really do this. And so, you know, I really love Heidi from the bottom of my heart, because if it wasn't for Heidi, really, I wouldn't have just uprooted and just gone to Berkeley. Like, I really just went and say, you know what, I'm gonna go to school. And, you know, 8 years of paralegaling, time to go and pursue my calling. I figure it's my calling. When it's your time, it's your time.
And there's no better segue to go into, I would feel like another song. When it is your time, it is your time. Go ahead and marinate on that. Pauline Jean.
I'm in a land where my soul is from. Africa, Africa, Africa. Soufflez-moi, soufflez-moi, soufflez blanc, soufflez blanc. Maman mwen navige, papa mwen navige, souffle, souffle, na we yo. Souffle, souffle, na we yo. Wal fon rassemblement. Pour m'konne sakrive pa mi mwen. Aye ou boy. Wal fon rassemblement. Pour Kone sakri bebye kwem yo, oh yeah, boy. Take me to Africa. Rassemblement, rassemblement. Mayo, 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 boy. Mayo, mayo, boy. Mayo, mayo, boy. Mayo. Aswa nou pap tombi, yes, yes mama. Grenza boka, zevizoye, ambalacha. Aswa nou pap tombi, yes, yes mama.
Pauline Jean just performed the title track from her recent album called Noyo, which means core or center. And we talked about how Africa is a core or center of not only your style, but also some of the content in your work. Let's talk about really quickly influences. So both of you, just tell me, I know that Sarah Vaughan comes up when we mention your name. You've done a lot of Nina Simone's work. Who are some of the, Godwin, you tell me who are some of your other influences musically, and then we'll follow up with Pauline, you telling me who are some of the collaborators that you look forward to.
Some of my musical influences. I would say the very first saxophonist I heard beside Kenny G was,
really?
yeah, I know that's
okay,
like,
Kenny. Hey.
I know it's sort of like,
yeah. So besides
not
Kenny?
cool, you know, but
no,
most
Kenny's
saxophone
cool.
players my age, you knew of Kenny G.
Yeah.
First.
How
But
old
besides
are you,
that, I
How old
am,
are
let
you?
me see.
Okay. Never mind. Carry the one, never mind.
You have to get
Yeah.
that. But I grew up listening to an amazing Haitian saxophonist by the name of Whirlwind.
Yes.
And he's sort of the inventor of a style of improvising that's called Sewell.
Sewell. What does that mean?
Sewell is, it's one of those multi-meaning terms, sort of like the blues, like how the blues is an emotion, it's a genre, it's a form of music. So Sewell is a fruit found in the Caribbean. It's a way of soloing, it's an overall vibe. Nice. You know, it's a way of like emoting through soloing. Is it a sweet fruit, a bitter fruit? It's actually, yeah, it's actually, yeah, a sweet fruit.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it's like a sweet sound.
Yeah, it is. We agree.
Yeah, like.
Has a little velvety.
Yeah, velvet, exactly. So that's like a Sewell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say the word again.
Sewell.
Sewell. Yes. And what about you? Tell us some of the you can maybe name a couple of other influences that we haven't heard of, and then tell us who are some collaborators that you would love to work with.
Oh my God! For me, it's so broad. what I normally say, I generalize it like this. It doesn't matter what genre of music, as long as if somebody touched my soul,
Okay.
then I connect.
Okay.
So, but I've also, in terms of collaboration, apart from the musicians that I have here with me, my musical family, I've also collaborated with Edwidge Dandika.
Yes.
And
who's renowned Haitian American author.
Right.
And
that's where their Blood Bon Dieu
yes.
stemmed from.
So please check that song out and the video for it. It really is beautiful, and Edwidge's work is just phenomenal in its own right. So, and then you've also collaborated with Wyclef Jean.
Well, we did a song in the studio for Haiti.
Okay.
A couple of years back with Wyclef Jean, so his face and my face were on the same thing. We do
Yeah.
together.
And that's one of the interesting things about kind of disasters is disasters have this really uncanny way of bringing people together, especially when people need to now go to music to revive, rejuvenate, and it pairs people who may not have otherwise been in the studio together.
Right.
Who is somebody really quickly that you would look forward to working with?
Oh my goodness. Woof. Quincy Jones.
Okay.
Why not?
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
And we can just, Quincy Jones is a whole world in and of himself.
Exactly.
If you read the recent interview that he did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, leave that alone.
And before I wanted for noyo, when it means the core, the heart of the fruit,
yes.
If you break down the word noyo,
yes.
it means black ones.
Black ones.
So when we go down and we talk about like Africa,
yes.
we connect Africa as being the first continent,
yes.
and that's like produced the humans. So that's the core for me.
Yes.
So that's what this whole project is about. Just
Love
going
it.
back to the beginning.
Going back to the beginning. And before we go into the next song, a root for you is also the core of, at the core of this work for you, it seems like, it has to be a connection to the people and to the exchange. And so let's talk about that really quickly. So in addition to being a musician, you are also an educator, and you want to share the history of Haitian children's songs and folklore and all of this stuff with the younger generations who may not necessarily have had access to it the way that you may have had access to it. And so you work with the Conservatory Lab Charter, and then you both together have a project called the IT Experience.
Experience IT.
Experience IT, yes. So tell us about that really quickly, and then let's go into the next song.
Well, Experience IT is pretty much an arts exchange program. And so our goal is to bring visibility in the arts to Haiti and sort of create an exchange and also a self-sustaining arts community in Haiti. For instance, we hope that in the near future that, you know, Haitian artists have the platform of, for instance, creating right in Haiti where they don't have to travel abroad to kind of gain success, where it can also be done home, where they can support it. And it extends to, you know, multidisciplinary art. So we look for instance, for actors, for, you know, visual artists, musicians, journalists.
And you're also exchanging not only ideas and conversation, dialogue, momentum, empowerment, but you actually exchange actual instruments and food and the things that people need to survive, so that doing things like art and music is not just a privilege, whereas it comes far down on the totem pole when you're just thinking about how to get to the next day, and that's really important. And then tell me a little bit about your work as an educator with the charter school.
Well, it's with the charter school is with the El Sistema program, and that's like a lot of impoverished neighborhoods. They usually would bring music to the community as a way of, you know, they wouldn't ordinarily have access to, like string instruments and so I was really happy when I was asked to get involved with that, because, you know, everything through the arts makes a big difference in children's lives.
It does.
And so,
what are some of the responses that you get from?
Oh man, they just love it.
They do.
The kids are.
So
just
it's not
like,
a lot of pushback or
no, it's not.
which is great.
They are willing and open. They want to learn, and they want to learn new things. And when you're not giving them the same old. You're coming in with culture. You're coming with history and things that they didn't know about. Like I was like telling them about the Haitian classical composers, and they were like, Haiti had classical composers. I'm like, well, hello, Haiti was like the first independent country. I mean, Haiti. I mean,
listen. We're going to stop you right there, because we don't have enough time in this little old minute. Let us go into the next song, which I think will set the tone for this conversation that we're about to have. This song is called Ebo Manding. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but first, shout out to Ms. Pauline Jean, students.
So long, so far away, I think of you. From the crevice of my soul, I long for you, praying for signs through winds of time. I wait for you, crossing the seas through starless skies. I cry for you. So I stepped in the water was cold. It chilled my body but not my soul. Your shackles and chains may be holding me, but I'm going home, yes, I am free. So very long, so far away, and I think of you. From the belly of the Congo, I long for you, praying for signs through winds of time. I wait for you, crossing the seas through starless skies. I cried for you. So I stepped in the water was cold. It chilled my body, but not my soul. Your shackles and chains may be holding me, but I'm going home, yes, I am free. I stepped in the water was cold. It chilled my body, but not my soul. Your shackles and chains may be holding me, but I'm going home, yes, I am the sea brought me, and the sea will bring me back home. Mwen boale Congo, mwen boale nan peyi mwen, ma kite peyi sa pou yo, mwen boale Congo. Mwen boale Congo, mwen boale nan peyi mwen, ma kite peyi sa pou yo, mwen boale Congo. Mwen boale Congo, ma kite bien peyi sa pou yo. Quitte vieux pays ça bouillon. Ouais, poilé, Congo. Ouais, poilé, Congo. Ouais, poilé, 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 poilé.
Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage. That is Killmonger from Black Panther movie. But more than that, we want to acknowledge the ancestors of Ebo Manding and the ancestors of the Haitian revolutions who said no to slavery in a way that didn't just benefit Black and brown people, but benefited everyone involved. Because when one is enslaved, all are enslaved. Thank you, Pauline Jean, for sharing this message. Thank you, Godwin. Thank you, Gila, Jonathan, Alan, and Marcus. Thank you. We are out of time, but they have one more song, and they're going to speak to you through the song, so tune in to that. In the words of our very special guest, coming from that note, perfect your gift and know that you have a responsibility to pass on your blessing to the world, especially because of those who paved the way for us to do that. Thank you, Pauline. You and your incredible band have done just that. We appreciate you all for the beautiful message, music, and for hanging out. And we appreciate you all for tuning in. If you want more of the gifts and blessings of B-Side, that is, you can check out past episodes on youtube.com/BRIC TV and on our podcast at soundcloud.com/B-Side podcast, or just come on by the studio and feel all this magic up close. I am your host, Queen GodIs, wishing you a happy International Women's Day all day, every day. We love you, Brooklyn. Ciao. Till next time.
Bruit, colobri, Au signor, manger au sol. Brille, volo brille, brille, volo brille. Au signor, manger au sol. Tis oiseaux côté ou poilé, moins poilé kay piet la lo kon manger ti moun, si ou aller la manger ou tout. Tis oiseaux côté ou poilé, moins poilé kay piet la lo kon manger ti moun, si ou aller la manger ou tout. Bricolo bric, au signor manger au sol. Bricolo bric, au signor manger au sol. Aïe, oulo, l'aime sorti la ville, yo can toute bête, tomber dans bois, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué, coulève, tomber dans bois, bouilla, tomber dans bois, zandoli, tomber dans bois, crapaud, tomber dans bois, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué, coulève, ma bouilla, tomber dans bois, zandoli, tomber dans bois, crapaud, tomber dans bois, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué. Tis oiseaux côté ou poilé, moins poilé kay piet la lo kon manger ti moun, si ou aller la manger ou tout. Tis oiseaux côté ou poilé, moins poilé kay piet la lo kon manger ti moun, si ou aller la manger ou tout. Bricolo bric, au signor manger au sol. Bricolo bric, au signor manger au sol. Aïe, oulo, l'aime sorti la ville, yo can toute bête, tomber dans bois, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué, couleur, tomber dans bois, ma bouilla, tomber dans bois, zandoli, tomber dans bois, crapaud, tomber dans bois, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs, couleur, ma bouilla, zandoli, crapaud, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué, coulève, ma bouilla, zandoli, crapaud, tomber dans bois, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué, mademoiselle levée pour danser, messieurs moins fatigué. These oiseaux Zabba